Network concepts which you must know. We don't need to go deeper into these concepts, but you might hear these terminologies when you are working. So you should understand what are these. So VLAN is kind of a virtual LAN. Okay. So what happens is that if we have set up an infra, we have got our computers, our switches, all of these are set up properly. Even within that grouping, that physical grouping, right? What VLAN allows us to do it allows us to create logical networks which are separate from each other. Okay, so it's like so this example is good. Even though everyone is using the same physical wires, uh, VLANs allow you to keep the traffic from HR, sales, IT teams apart, like putting them in different chat rooms, right? So for example, right now we are in a single meeting room, we are talking to each other, and I can create smaller rooms for you. So two people from us can be a part of that smaller room, two people can be a part of that smaller room, which is logically isolated. Okay, so they are used in various VLANs are very popular. They are used in multiple scenario where you have to isolate the. One very common example is isolating a data traffic from a voice traffic. Okay, or we can create a VLAN especially for one of the departments, which is where we need more security or more isolation. Okay, so this is VLAN. You can read more about it from here. Then we have got something called virtual private cloud and network segmentation. So VPC is something which is more apt for cloud. So whenever we are trying to set up our infrastructure on cloud, we first create a virtual private cloud over there. So again, the same logic, the cloud infrastructure is same. On that cloud infrastructure, that cloud provider will allow you to put rules so that you end up creating a logical network for you. Okay. So using components like subnet, route tables, and network ACLs, VPCs enable secure communication between cloud resources for a particular network. Okay. Now, there's also a concept of network segmentation, which enhances the performance of the setup by breaking it into smaller isolated units. Okay. If you've got a very large network, there is a lot of unnecessary traffic that is generated. There are broadcast traffic. There are traffic which is not required to be there on the network, and so by applying firewalls, having different subnets or bridges in between, you actually end up creating a smaller sub networks, or even we call them different zones as such. So they provide more security to these smaller networks and also more isolation. The performance of the network increases, and there are less chances of a security breach. Then we have concepts of load balancing and traffic distribution. So now, whenever you are, say, accessing Gmail or Twitter or Facebook, you will find these networks never go down, right? There are millions of people who are logging into these systems, but everyone is served in the same manner. This is achieved by something called load balancing, right? So we have got concept of load balancers which distribute the incoming traffic into multiple servers. So at a given point of time, although you are reaching a single IP, but at the back end, that request is being served by multiple. Okay, so in a way they distribute the load, and hence we are able to get a very good performance for even large number of users. Okay, so this is the concept of load balancing and traffic distribution. Then we have the concept of NAT, network address translation. So NAT is a concept that allows multiple devices on a private network to share a single public IP address when accessing the internet. Okay, so always think of it like this, that you have a local network in which your local systems are there. You might be connected to internet through a Wi-Fi router or through your mobile hotspot. The devices that are within your network, when they access the internet, all of them use the public IP that is given to you by your provider. Okay. There are multiple types of NAT. NAT also allows you to do one more thing. That suppose if from outside I want to access a machine inside, it is normally not possible. Okay. But on our routers, we can set up NAT rules so that whenever some request is coming from the outside, these routers can forward that request to a particular system within your network. Okay. So this kind of two-way communication, NAT allows for this two-way communication between the public networks and the local networks. Okay. We have got multiple types of NAT, like a static NAT, which has a one-to-one mapping, which is normally used for servers. So if I want to host a server within my office, right, I have to do a NAT for that particular server on my router, so that when you from your home are trying to access my services, your request is forwarded to that server. Okay, otherwise it is not possible. Otherwise, your request will terminate on the router itself. It will not go further. Then we have got dynamic NAT, in which we can have one-to-many mapping. So this is normally used when we have a pool of public IP addresses, and we want that. We want that when request goes out of my network, it takes any IP from that particular pool. Then we have something called a port PAT, also port address translation. It is called many-to-one mapping using different port numbers. Okay. So when you are trying to access my server on, say, HTTP port, that is port number 80, the request can go to a different server. When you are trying to access my network on port number 22, it can go to a different server. So this port address mapping can also be done. Okay. Finally, coming to MPLS, this is called multi-protocol label switching. Normally, this is a kind of a network that is created by your ISP to connect your multiple offices together. Okay. So MPLS is a networking method that acts like an expressway for your data. In normal data, it travels hop by hop within each router, checking where it should go next. But in MPLS, the data is tagged with the label at the beginning, allowing it to take the fastest and most direct route to its destination. So when organizations have these multiple offices, we use MPLS to connect these offices so that we can have a faster connectivity between them. And finally, we want to reach a VPN. So VPN is something called a virtual private network, which is which helps you to extend your office network to outside. So there are many cases when people work from home, and you don't want, and they want to access data and files within their office. Okay, so how can we provide them a secure access? Okay, because if we open our office network to everyone on public, then our office network gets exposed. So that is not the solution. So we have got these VPN servers. You install these PCs with VPN clients. The person will actually log into this VPN server using the VPN client, and in a way, the person who is on public actually becomes a part of the secured office network, and he can actually do stuff in a secure manner. The other common way of VPN that you might have used is when you want to bypass your local firewalls, right? So if your system is not allowed to access some websites locally, you access a VPN. And again, as mentioned, once your client connects to this VPN, it actually becomes a part of the VPN network. And so whenever request goes out from your client, they go through this VPN IP rather than from your local IP. So in that manner, what happens is that your system bypasses the local rules and policies. Again, it is used a lot even for the personal users. So overall, these concepts are such concepts which you might encounter at times. So knowing them, understanding them helps you in actually communicating and digging deep further. So it is important for you to know. So this is a very basic fundamental, introduction of network systems. As you will go along in this, then you will read more about this content. You would be going further in some concept and some areas which are important for us. We are not going to go deeper into each of these concepts because that might not be relevant for us.